So I'm probably really late to the party, but I recently noticed how popular the goal of $100,000 in an investment portfolio is. And it got me thinking, could I actually hit $100,000 from an investment balance that's a little over $10,000 with only investing $25 a week? So I decided to find out, because I really do think it's obviously possible just by math. But the really big question, at least for my situation, is it possible for me to hit $100,000 in this lifetime? So we'll see. Okay, so assuming that the price appreciation is 6% and my annual contributions are $1,300 a year, or again, $25 a week, then I would hit $50,000 at around the year 2034, give or take a couple $100, and then I'll hit $100,000 in 2042. For some transparency, I'm 31 years old now, so I'll be 49 by the time I hit 100,000, which is great. But if I can get there sooner, then it'll be a lot better, because the biggest reason why $100,000 is such a popular goal is because of what happens after you hit it. After watching what honestly felt like 100+ hours of different YouTubers talk about how they got to $100,000, whether it was in their savings account or it was in their investment portfolio, at the beginning I just felt like $100,000 was the goal that people talked about because it sounded like a pretty round, big number. Like people that want to make $1 million, they always say, I want to be a millionaire. But what I didn't know is how wild things actually start to get with your portfolio balance after you hit $100,000, thanks to something really cool called compound interest. Say you start investing next year, clean slate, and you start investing with $1,000 and your portfolio grows 4% within that year. That means by the end of the year, you'll have a balance of $1,040. Not bad. But let's say instead of $1,000, you start that year off with $10,000. That same 4% growth would get you $10,400. The more money you have, the more money you will get, but it's the repetitiveness on a year-to-year basis that makes it really cool. The compounding of interest. But let's go back to the $1,000 example. If you started off with $1,000 and you invested $100 a week, which would end up being $5,200 a year, you would hit your first $100,000 in 13 years. And that's really cool, honestly, for a portfolio that starts off pretty small and gets to 6 figures in a little over a decade. But the really cool part starts when you get to the second $100,000, which would only take you 7 years. And then the third would take you 5 years. And again, that's just emphasizing the power of compound interest, assuming that the interest or the percentage of growth within a year stays the same as the years go by. Now, for my situation, since we're talking about a smaller amount that I'm investing every single week, if you pay attention to the $50,000 marks, I hit my first $50,000 in 11 years from now, then I hit my next $50,000 in about 8 years, and my third $50,000 in about 4 years. But again, I want to try to get to that $100,000 point a whole lot quicker. So what do I need to do? Unfortunately, unless you're some type of miracle worker or you're really like practically perfect at timing the market, the only thing we can control when it comes to how much money we make out of the market is how much we contribute into it. You can only contribute what you can because most of us have bills and even debt that we're still working on right now. But if you haven't started tracking your money on a spreadsheet yet, you definitely should, because you can take a look at your assets and your liabilities, and you can see if there's any liabilities that you could potentially drop off and instead use that money to put towards a portfolio. And any amount, I mean any amount, can result in big changes. For example, let's say instead of investing $25 a week like I've been for the past 4.5 years, I jump all the way to $30 a week. Still, a little bit something. So instead of contributing $1,300 a year, I would contribute $1,560 a year. And yes, I had to do that math over to the side. Oh well. So that would change things up a little bit. If I did that, I would hit $50,000 around the same year, maybe a little bit sooner, but $100,000 would actually be accomplished by 2040, give or take a couple of $100, which is actually 2 years sooner than what it was if I only invested $5 less every single week. So with that being said, last weekend I went back on my Robinhood portfolio and I modified my weekly contribution from $25 to $30. So now I officially invest $30 a week. Now for me, and I'm sure for the majority of us out there, we have our investment portfolios that we want to be able to use for the short term and even for the long term. Not only for me is this a portfolio that I want to have the opportunity to pass on to my kids and their kids and so on and so forth, so we can start building generational wealth, but I want to be able to enjoy the passive income that the dividends will bring me throughout my lifetime. And I realized $100,000 is an amazing milestone to reach. Not just because of it being a pretty number, but because of the amount of money that I'll make once I hit that point with the compounding interest, and of course the dividends that I'll get paid every single month. But luckily, even when I was investing $25 a week, I still hit two really wild milestones that I talk about in this video. So make sure you watch it, and I'll give you guys all the details, including one of the milestones that I didn't even think about hitting to begin with, didn't even think it was a thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, as always, take care.